Well, if you have a plaque on your wall, that song probably did pretty well. Yes. You know what I mean? That is like a real physical thing. And so I do want to talk about that because our brother Osei got his first plaque.
Yeah. Shout out. Woo.
Yeah. Hey, what did that feel like? Well, first tell the people what you got your plaque for, what you did and how it felt. Yeah, your moment. Your ISO Osei.
You feel me? No, I appreciate that. I got a plaque recently. And I got a plaque for a top 50 platinum record from Real Boston Richey.
Big Richey.
Called Help Me.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a cool moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else do you want to know?
I want to know how you helped make that record platinum.
I want to know how you picked where in your room you were going to hang it up. It's a pretty big plaque. So
you know what I'm saying?
I only had space in one part of the wall.
Niggas want to talk about wall art. That's real wall art.
Bro, I was like, why is that not in the back of your stream setup?
Nah.
It literally can't be because the mirrors are there.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is like gonna be one of many. So like you don't want to like have that one just like front and center. I feel like this is like you want to act like you've been here before.
Yeah, I feel
this is calm for him. This is regular for him. I'm gonna just keep this one tucked.
No, appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's cool to get a plaque. I think it's just an acknowledgement of hard work. I feel like he's definitely going through it right now, but I feel like Real Boston Richey like has had his own ups and downs in the industry. So receiving one for this record was dope because it signaled a change. It signaled a turning point in his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think even like him being on the Glorilla tour and all that, like we were talking about like, Cleo Soul doing the Hollywood Bowl and like monthly listeners and all that. I think there's certain things that you can achieve, like a record going platinum or like being on a crazy artist tour and like having like seeing videos of fans like screaming your record that like signal that something is real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Benchmarks, bro. Because I was gonna say even like tying it into the monthly listeners argument and all that stuff. Like, while competition, all that shit, numbers and all that isn't like the greatest thing for like your mental and all that, I think it is dope when you can stamp things in your career. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yo, I'm good at what I do, and it's not me telling you that I'm just good at what I do. There's actual proof that I've done this, affected change in this person's career, and this is undeniable.
Yeah.
Now that you have that platinum record, no one could take that away from you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm literally stamped, and here is the proof of concept.
Yeah.
Here is everything that I've done beginning to end. Here's where I took this artist from. Like, obviously, talent, all the stuff goes into that, like his hard work, like all of that, but you were really a part of the team that put this together and changed his career.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I can get into it a little bit more about like how, not everything, obviously, but I think it's more just like, again, he was in a weird position. Like when we first started working with him, when he first got signed, because he had those crazy videos going around. And I feel like with him, it was always about, he always had a fan base, and it was more about positioning and like repositioning his narrative, right? I feel like he came up off a super street fan base that he got isolated from. But he always had like a very strong women fan base that may have been in the minority of his overall fan base, but was always like riding for him. And I could see that on the streaming side, but you could especially see that on TikTok. Because TikTok, it was like, yeah, you definitely see like males using his sound or whatever, but like it was an overwhelming like female fan base like creating videos to his music. So I feel like just like repositioning him in that, in terms of like the records that we were like as a team that we were putting out, and also just like the campaigns we were running and all that, I think that was really, I think I could literally see like things changing for him narrative wise because of that.
Yeah.
And even like getting on Glorilla's tour, you know what I mean? Like that is a completely different audience than he had before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or at least it was an audience that was small, that was grown through like, different marketing campaigns.
Yeah, so how do you identify that early? Because you're saying the statistics still skew heavily men.
Yeah.
But you're saying you identified that like the super fans, the ones that were buying merch and creating their own UGC content, were mostly women. So like how did you make that discovery?
Yeah, so I feel like this is interesting, and this might be where digital and like A&R are even similar, because at some point you just kind of look away from numbers and look at what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Like I think like, again, like especially when I went on TikTok and I like looked under any of the music we dropped, I was like, all right, like it's very clearly like let's see how in depth I want to go into this. But it's very clearly like there was very clearly like a young, like black female fan base that was from the South. Like literally. It was just like, and then you look at all the records that come from like a Moneybagg Yo or Lil Durk and like all of that. And you're like, oh, this is the same type of person. You feel what I'm saying? So the marketing is similar.
I think it's about being an agent of change. So like you said, surface level, there's all of this. Men are listening to it. You kind of know the basic Florida pain rap audience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you dove in though and said, there's other people who are also super fans, but maybe who's not obvious. And how do we turn them up and make them just as prominent as the other people? So then you have a wave of now multiple different, I feel like, demographics of people rushing to this song, posting to this song, to where it becomes now mainstream and everybody's posting to this song and it's a hit record.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just about identifying the little things and again, throwing more like just more time, more money, more energy, more everything on it when you have a spark.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like even, I think I like the way you said it because it feels weird saying the details. You have to go in and identify who the potential fans are that are going to be engaged.
Yes.
Rather than focus on like, I think focusing on the majority is what a lot of people do. And I feel like the way that I work is that I will definitely like look at pockets of people that are like the super fans.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And engage them. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to stream, buy tickets, buy merch, all that. And they're really going to propel an artist's career.
And I think that that's an interesting tie-in too, that like I have tried to implement with my approach to A&R and just like making music as well. It's like, who do you want to hear this? What do you want this fan base to look like? And how can I make the music sound like something that would satisfy them without being derivative?
Yeah.
Does that kind of, yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
But I think you did it with a hit record. It worked.
So once you identify that you have this insight that you really feel like empowering younger black women in the South is going to help build and change this narrative in a positive direction, what were a couple specific things you did to empower that group of people?
Empower. I feel like empower is the wrong word.
What is it? What to activate that group of people?
Activate is the right, I feel like.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I think especially with influencer marketing, you have to just make sure that you have to make sure that you are working with the right people that like already have that fan base. You know what I mean? Especially like on Twitter and TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I won't necessarily name specific people, but like there's definitely people that move the needle when it comes to like that type of music and they live in that demographic and people look up to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they already like look to them for like music taste and all that. I think influencers are all curators technically.